I did my first property course in January, February of 2016. From that I met a few good people, and Ash was one of them. So I then sort of tried doing other bits and bobs, going back to what Ash was saying earlier about flips and nods and sods. I was trying to do that with somebody else, didn't work out. So I then did the rent-to-rent course, the HMO course with Ashley in July of that same year, 2016. I went out then and got one HMO, which I've still got to this day, and it still runs quite nicely doing what it does. But there was never sort of the area where I was in Reading in Berkshire, there was never too much sort of properties on the market for HMOs. They were getting snapped up by families all the time prepared to pay a bit more for them. So it was a hard market. So then I decided to focus on the SA side of things, and I did the SA course in exactly November 2016 on the 26th of November. So I'll just talk about a bit about who we are. So Urban Chills. This is us. So myself there, bit of my background, 10 years transport and distribution management with FedEx, 10 years in IT recruitment and management doing various things with big corporates, 15 years of setting up and running my own business from the locksmith franchise through to property where I am now. I've only been in property literally just over 12 months because I don't count some of that early days because I didn't actually do anything. Ian Taylor, my business partner, who came in when we set up Urban Chills, 20 years property related, trained as a QS but never actually qualified. Over a period of 3 years he's built a portfolio of properties up which he still retains 59 today. They're basically buy-to-lets and HMOs. So he still runs those to this day. Now, he doesn't really have anything to do with the business. On a day-to-day, from setting up even to now, he's a full-time landlord basically. So everything that's been done in the business has been done basically with me and with my son who's at the bottom here, James Noss. So we introduced him into the company sort of about 2 months in because we just realised we needed an extra pair of hands. So I'm not using his own words here, well most of it's his own words, but basically the first part he wanted to be a jack of all trades with affinity for tech and analytics, but I changed that to entrepreneurial because I think he is. Takes after his dad. So, but you can see he can operate a fancy camera and Adobe's Creative Suite, so he does a lot of our, well he does all of our photos for us, and he creates kick-ass property listings in his own words. So again, it's what you've got on the listings on the OTAs is what sells it for you. It's the pictures and it's a description because that's all people are going by. They can't go and see the property, they're doing it on there. So that's us, that's Urban Chills. So the timeline. In terms of what we've done, this is when I did the course with Ashley, 26th of November last year. Before I'd actually done the course, I was actually sort of going out and meeting agents. I had a rough idea from doing the rent-to-rent HMO course what I needed to do. I'd had a conversation with Ashley because he was mentoring me, so I'd spoken to Ashley beforehand to say, look, what do I need to say to the agents? How do I propose this for SA? Because it's obviously different to where we are with the HMO side of things. So he gave me some leaders and off I went. So I know Stratford-upon-Avon very well because I lived there for about 3 years, some years back. So I'd seen these 6 apartments that were in one block, again commercial to resi conversion, perfect for what we needed. A little bit further out than I'd have liked, but it was still a good location and there was parking on site. So I negotiated on those. We were talking direct to the landlord from sort of talking to the agent. We thought we had the deal in the bag basically. The landlord agreed to it. We were just waiting for heads of terms to come through and we were going to sign it all up from there. Did Ashley's course, sat on that day, and 2nd December, literally just after that, the apartments in Stratford fell through. I'd been trying to get hold of the landlord directly because just to follow up on the heads of terms. He was basically ignoring my calls. I spoke to the agent, cut a long story short, the agent said, he should have told you, he's already told us, but he's given it to another company on a 2-year deal, but they're paying 12 grand a year extra on the rent. He didn't even come to negotiate with us. We were looking at 3 years, we'd have given him the extra 12 grand, it would have worked. So he lost out basically. So following on from that, I went off from the course, really fired up, and within, well literally what's that, a couple of weeks, I'd started, because what happened when I came back from this phone call, this was on a Friday afternoon, I got this sort of late Friday afternoon, about 5 o'clock time, and I was dejected, pissed off and annoyed, but all that did is make me get on the phone on Saturday morning and hit the phones to the Reading area where I was living. I thought, I'm going to do something around here. I made, I don't know, a dozen phone calls on Saturday morning, a lot of rejections, as you usually get. People don't understand SA, that type of thing. But I had one agent that I spoke to that said, yeah, we understand SA, we know exactly what it's all about. I need to get the lettings director to call you Monday morning. I'm like, yeah, not likely so, it never happens. Monday morning, 9:20, I got that phone call. From there, I started going out and viewings with him the following day. So we'd offered on two, literally within 2 days of that sort of deal starting up. And he then took me out, I think, on the following day. If I recall, it was about another 25 properties that we viewed. From all those viewings, we ended up getting 10 properties in the Reading area, and they were all due to sort of come online early the following year. Early that year. No, so it would have been the following year. So they were coming on through March of 2017. So continuing on from that, the agent that I originally dealt with on the 6 apartments, she gave me an email. She said, "Nigel, you might be interested in this. We know about 15 apartments that are coming on in Stratford. They're not on the market yet. Commercial to resi conversion in a business park, perfect for what you're looking for." So she tipped us off to this, and we started negotiations on it. She said, "If you get the deal, it's going to cost you a bottle." I said, "No problem." We gave her about a best part of £100 bottle of Bollinger for that deal, because we landed it in the end. So worth it for us, worth it for her. She still keeps in touch to this day, because if they get anything comes along, they're more commercial, but if anything comes along, they're going to give it to us. So 13th of December, we booked the viewing for Elm Court, which is the big one in Stratford. We've got 15 in one block, and we started literally negotiating at that period, and it was lengthy negotiations. We were dealing with the agent, who was dealing with the landlord, who was also the developer that did it. Bit of a cowboy setup, but you'll see that further down the line, I think. So at this point, we've been accepted for the 10 in Reading that were literally coming on across the early part of the following year. Ian, my business partner, and myself, we've put in about 30 grand between us, and we've now committed to 25 properties. So we had that, as Ashley refers to it, the old shit moment. We needed money. The 15 in Stratford were going to be unfurnished, so there was going to be 45 grand to furnish those properties, and probably about 4 out of the 10 Reading were furnished, so the other 6 remain, needed furnishings also. So there was a lot of money to be found. So he approached a few people that he knew, and we got an investor to put in 50 grand. So that was on a 7-month deal, I think initially. We agreed to pay that back over a 7-month period. You'll be pleased to know that that is now paid back. So from going live in literally March with the first properties, April with the majority of the properties, we've paid back 50 grand plus interest to this guy. So he was obviously...
So effectively you paid the 50 grand out of 3 months of income?
Yeah, and Ian's had some of his money back out of it as well, so there's other money that's gone out. So Stratford, this is our place in Stratford. This was it in build phase. It was a proper building site then, that's when we first viewed it. Signboard up on here, obviously advertising the fact that we're trying to let out on 15 apartments. We had loads of snagging to do. We actually went around there one day supposedly to do a snagging list with the agent, and after spending 4 hours in a freezing cold January morning on the ground floor, and we hadn't even covered 3 bedrooms, we just gave up because it wasn't a snagging list at all. It was a developer's list to do. So in fact, it was, if I recall rightly, the agent's words were, "Fuck this. This is not a snagging list. We need to get a QS back in here from the developer and get it finished properly." So at that, we all walked out and then went down the pub. So practical completion hadn't even been reached. I mean, as you see, it was just a building site. Nothing was going on. I think the developer had issues with the building team that were there. They'd come up from London. They were living in the rooms and working throughout the week. Come Christmas, they all packed up and pissed off home. They were due to come back in the new year, never did. I think that's why it was in the situation it was in. Ooh. So he had issues. He had issues. Some of his own making, but there we go. So lift in the building wasn't working. The company that serviced it, a company called Schindler's Lifts. That says it all. So most of the apartments weren't finished. Front door needed replacing. You can't really see it on these, but we've got a set of outer sort of glass swing doors, and then we've got an inner door. Again, issues. They were supposed to put a wooden door on there. We bought all the locks and everything accordingly. Then he went and fitted a double glazed door that we had to get new locks again. So it was just one of those things. Deviation from the heads of terms because it wasn't completed on time, and the takeover date for us was delayed. So all big problems we had. This was one of the rooms downstairs at the time we went to view it.
What, for the snagging?
That was before the snagging. That was the first. Honestly, it wasn't much better. So there was real issues with it, but that was when we first went to view it. So that was the blank canvas we came to view. It's not a very good photo, but it's there nevertheless. So under pressure to complete, we signed a 3-year deal on where are we on 2nd of Feb. Snagging still not complete, but literally they gave us a month free rent to get everything done and move on from there. So we thought, not a problem, that should give us plenty of time. Really? So the office next door to us, a solicitors company, then came over and introduced themselves and they said, are you aware of the access problems to this site? Which the agent hadn't told us anything about. Now, you'll come on to where the site is, but effectively because we're in a business park, we've got a road here and a road here, and we've got access for both sides. This is a roller shutter door that's controlled on a keypad entry system that's been broke ever since we started it, has only recently been repaired. And this side was just a set of the gates that were left open all the time. What we found out is out of hours then, they started locking this set of gates up, which caused us issues. You'll see those a bit further along. So there was, basically bits and bobs kept popping up and raising at the heads of the parapet and causing us issues. Landlord started to lock one set of gates. Lift repairs repeatedly delayed. They kept saying we're going to come and they never get turned up and all sorts of things going on. We just kept passing these back to the agent saying deal with it, it's not our problem. So another 6 weeks to complete. Result, we couldn't take bookings. We committed to £10,500 in rent, which was due on the 2nd of March. So in addition, renting properties that we'd taken on weren't flowing at the rate we'd expected, so there was a lot of sort of ocean moments. But we were committed and we were going to go for it regardless. Now this is coming back to the access side. So this is Elm Court coming in from the top side, from the Arden Street entrance, and that's our building here at the back. So you come down here, we've got dedicated parking at the back and then around the front of the building. This is the roller shutter that's never worked. This is the gates that were then being locked up from there. And again, if you come around the gates here, our building is you just see the outline of it to the side here. So that's where we are. So we had issues with these gates. These gates are still being locked out of hours. We still haven't resolved this with the landlords of the site, because there's a different landlord that owns the site to the one that owns our building. So it's an ongoing conversation. This was the front door being fitted. So new door installed March, all snagging complete, give or take. Access arrangements over the car park, well, they're still sitting with a management company, there were still issues, but we actually got told we could use it 24/7 for our guests, so the issues were out of the way as far as that was concerned. The gate still unresolved to this day, as I say, we're still ongoing with that one. Branding complete, signage ordered. You'll see on the next picture, I think we've got the actual signs out the front. Furniture financed and delivered. So we used Fusion Furniture through a company called Landlord Smart that you touch on later possibly.
Yeah.
So they provide all the furniture. Because we had a blank canvas, we basically got them in and said, look, this is what we've got. Each room is different. We've got 1 studio, 6 2-bedroom and 8 1-bedroom apartments in there, so everything was different. So we said, you come and tell us what we need, make a list, bring it in and get it sorted. So we just took the easy route, I suppose. We negotiated the surrender and renewal of the tenancy arrangement because obviously with the hold-ups that we had, we didn't want to start paying rent. So we said, no, take all the documents back, we'll rip them up, we'll start again. And we actually pushed for that and got it. So 17th of April, Easter Bank Holiday Monday, we went live. And literally within the first couple of hours, bookings started flooding in and I could actually breathe again. So, which was a major thing because there was a lot of commitment there for us, a lot of commitment. So this is the when they put the Urban Chill signs up for us. And we've got these wired into a light sensor here with the outside lights, so basically at night it all lights up for us.
Is that guest access on the left there, mate?
The
lift, the ladder?
Main front. That's for the one that bring the mistresses in. So, but we had issues with this because the landlord again had developed it and done it. He's registered as Emperor Court, and he wanted to keep his Emperor Court sign up there. So when we said, and that was on the front here. So when we said we want Urban Chills, we want to put a big little logo sign on there. He said, no, not having that. He said my Emperor Court stays there. He said that's what I've called it. So he said you can put your sign, Urban Chill sign, above or below. So me thinking savvy, we've moved this sign and put it on the wall. We put ours below. He didn't say that was not in the rules. So he then came and saw it. He lives in London, so we didn't think he'd ever come back to the site, to be honest. So he came and saw it. Anyway, we agreed £250 cash, job done. So we got what we wanted with an extra fee.
Good.
This is the inside of it now. So this is a little brochure that I've had made up that my son did for me, that we take out to estate agents effectively, so it's just that copied into the system. But this is Elm Court, so this is the Stratford-upon-Avon one. This is one that seats 5 people. We've got a double bed, and it's a big L-shaped bedroom, single sofa bed in there for kids, and then there's a double sofa bed in the lounge. This is that's apartment 6, this is apartment 3. So this is this is a 2-bedroom apartment, so we've got zipper link beds in one room, double bed in the other room, and a double sofa bed in the lounge. This is, we've got these are some of the Reading apartments, so we've got Reading, flat 10 in Garrard, flat 10 in Garrard again, and flat 212 in Garrard. So they're all in the Garrard House by the station, all brand new apartments again, and again it was a commercial to resi building for us. Another one of Elm Court, that's again one of the bedrooms in apartment 3, and just a little group of them all together there. But I use this to go out to the estate agents, and it basically helps us to show them what we've got and what standard we work to, so it's a very good thing to do.
Just note, just flick back. You'll note that there's art on the walls, etc. So there's no big blank dead walls, because if you have blank walls, they look terrible in photos.
Yeah.
They look really bad.
I mean, this doesn't do the photos justice, I mean, but they are. When you look at this one in sort of close up with a plant in the front that's vibrant colours and that, it really does stand out well on booking.com. So, right, moving on to some stats and some bookings. So, I'll move across this side, this is in writing. So, what we're looking at is, this is taken from Tokey, which some of you may be familiar with and some of you won't, but this is basically a graph of all the bookings we've taken, and our occupancy rates for all the properties. This is right across the 25. So, April, when we first started, 22% occupancy. Bearing in mind we didn't go live till 17th, so that wasn't bad really. May, we're up to 51%. June, again 51%. 66, you can see the numbers for yourself. September, up to 82% occupancy. This is the numbers on this side. So we're talking, our break-even point is literally around about 32, 33k. So anything above here is nice, ka-ching profit. So, and that's where we are for now. So we've had over 382 grand worth of bookings so far this month, in 6 months for this year. We've had 20 grand worth of bookings, well it's, I think it's about 25 now, this was updated at the beginning of the week. So to get it over to Ashley, so them numbers are actually higher than this now. So that's what we've done in 6 months. So,
Awesome.
Everything's possible. Don't let anybody tell you that nothing is possible, because it's here. It's about mindset and having a good mentor. With somebody like Ashley to drive you forward, and that self-determination and mindset and belief, you can do it.
But you've equally got to have the self-determination.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't be the motivator if you're going to sit there and do nothing. You have to work with me. It's not me working with you, it's you working with me. Is that clear? Yeah?
Works
If you
two-way street.
And if you think about what Nigel said here, you think about the words and the language that he's using. He said, you know, a couple of times there, I get to breathe again, or oh shit moments.
Yeah.
Did he say, oh shit, and then crawl in a hole and like, I can't do this?
No.
No, he did. What did he do?
He said, oh shit, I'm going to get out of this hole and make it work.
Yeah, so we all have a certain amount of resources available to us, right? Whether it's knowledge, expertise, experience, people's money, people's properties, or your own self resources, yes?
Yeah.
But they're useless until we use what? The resourcefulness. So there were resources that he didn't have, so he had to use his resourcefulness to go to other people to get them to help him. Yes? He didn't have the money. So where did he go? Other people. He didn't have the properties. So where did he go? Other people's properties. What else did you pick up from Nigel from that presentation? Forget the numbers. Forget service accommodation. What did you pick up from there?
Commitment.
Yeah.
Commitment. 100%. All the little things that turned, the snagging, which is really the developer's list. He got over those things, didn't he? I'm sure you were sitting there with Ian sometimes thinking, how are we going to do this? You all work together and you all work it out. Now this is an extreme case. I will say this is an extreme case for starting out
You went
your
on for a
first
long bit,
deal.
didn't you?
Your first deal. So it does take some big clangers. You know? He's going to scaffold him soon because he sounds like Big Ben. But do you see that the majority of people will go out and they get 1, they get 2, they get 3, they get 4. Yes? But even if you start off with 1, 2, 3 or 4, how much money has Tim now poured in from 5 in 6 months?
Or if you can.
£100,000. Is that enough for you as individuals? He's working as a team now, so he needs more. But Nigel's dream is to now be in every single major city.
You're still in my thunder, this is my bit.
Sorry. Carry on. I thought you'd finished, sorry.
So, no. So basically, a rundown of the numbers. Rent roughly 20k a month across all the buildings. Business rates 4k, utilities, etc., etc. So there you go. Total outgoings, backing up what we've got on the graph there, 32k, and that's the numbers we've been doing. So anything over 32k on here, good June. That's the moment.
Good September, good August,
Yeah.
good July.
Yeah,
June.
they've
Good
all been
May.
strong, and this is basically with no marketing. We're literally this is relying on the OTAs and a bit of poaching.
We'll talk about poaching off camera.
Yeah, well, all right, okay. We'll leave the poaching till later. Talk to me about poaching. So
Good numbers?
Yeah. Oh, really good numbers.
Nigel,
Yeah.
who are your guests? Is that you can say? So who stays in your?
Guys, focus please on the front.
Reading is a lot of
Charles?
business. Reading is a lot of business people, but we still get surprisingly enough tourists coming to Reading. God knows why. I can't see why they want
Festival?
to come down. Well, yeah, well, you get festival goers, and when we get festival goers, we do increase the deposits they pay because you just don't know who's going to go in there. So we just tighten down on that. But business mainly in Reading and occasional tourism. Stratford, I thought would be mainly tourism when we set it up, in all honesty. But there's some big employers in the area. You've got NFU, so National Farmers Union, big insurance company. You've got Jaguar Land Rover up there. You've got Aston Martin up that part of the world. And there's quite a few smaller companies. Surprisingly enough, we've got a company that they're a local film production company that work hand in hand with Shakespeare Theatre. And they were getting involved in opening a new cinema in Stratford a couple of months back now. And on the run up to that, they were booking literally about 4 or 5 of our apartments out at a time for 2 to 3 months, bringing people up from London that were working on the projects. And even now, I think we've still got 2 people in there from them, even now in different apartments. So it was surprising. We're getting a lot of business and a lot of tourism up there. It's a cross match for both of us, which I was quite surprised about. Yeah. So again, this is a breakdown of the bookings. The colours on the graph basically correspond to the different rooms that we've got, and to sort of back up what Ash was saying earlier in terms of the size of the rooms, 6.8% of all the bookings go to apartment number 3, which equates there to, I can't see what it says in this.
25, 27 grand, I think.
Yeah, so that's our
25.
biggest room. So that's the 2-bedroom apartment with a double sofa in the lounge, so we can sleep 6 in there, and that takes most of our bookings. So a lot of it, most of the Reading ones are single bedroom apartments for business. Again, we've got a couple that are two bedrooms. But again, you can see the breakup there. That's the closest one, which is apartment number 4, I think, which is a 2-bedroom one again. But again, the one that's taken the biggest bookings is the one that sleeps more people. So it just shows that there is a need out there for it. So now I'm looking for bigger properties in the area.
And hence more profit.
Yeah, hence more profit, exactly. Which is always a good thing.
Does that help time with what we've been saying so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So what next? Let's see, this is where he's doing my thunder. Systems. One, from the start, we went about this slightly differently to Ash and the way that Ash teaches it, and rightly or wrongly, we had a lot of learning curves. When I first started doing this, literally from jumping into it myself with these 25 properties, I was working from 8 in the morning till 11 at night, 7 days a week, from the beginning of the year right the way through till back end of June, when I actually employed my future son-in-law to do the job for us. That's how busy we were with taking calls, taking bookings, doing everything. The manpower behind it was ridiculous. So we needed to systemise everything. I'm 2 hours away from Stratford. I couldn't actually go and do meet and greets for everybody that was coming into 15 apartments. It was just a physical impossibility. And we didn't want to get somebody on the ground to do it because it was our baby, and we didn't want somebody cocking it up, basically.
No.
So we went into it differently and systemised everything through Toe Keep from an early stage. to try and make it as easy as possible. And every time we got an issue or a customer ringing up with this problem, we put a fix in place to try and stop that, and just to try and eliminate those phone calls. Because they are our customers and they generate our bread and butter. But again, we don't want them on the phone 24 hours, just don't need it. So, recently teamed up with another operator, Ben Watson, who some of you will know. And Ben operates in the Birmingham area. And we've been viewing this block of 41 apartments, which are new builds, due to go live on the 6th of November.
You're still negotiating that one, aren't you?
Still negotiating it. We've had a bit of bad news last night on it, but we're not giving up. So we're going to keep pushing forward on that one and see what happens. The other block of 9 that was on there, went to view those. They're a no-go for us. The developers built one in the industrial estate. I mean, I can't.
Break the 10-minute rule.
Logic behind it, but there you go. So, Ben has got access to an investor. That's not a typo. 5 million quid to spend.
I thought you meant the Ben bit was not a typo.
That is a typo. I hadn't even seen that bit. Well spotted. So yeah, so one of the landlords that Ben is already dealing with, they had issues around the head lease that one of the properties he's got, and it was a case of we need to go back to an AST. They're kicking off, blah blah blah. So then this investor said to him, "What I'd like you to do, I've got some money. I'd like you to go out and source properties for me that we will hold in our name. We need to make X amount per year ROI, that's all we need. But you can buy them for us in our name, that you can then run a service accommodation for 5 years, whatever you want to do with them." So she said, "I trust you, I trust what you're doing." So I said to Ben, jokingly, sort of tongue in cheek, when we had a chat about this, I said, "Ben, you need somebody to work with you on this, it's too big for one man." And he said, "I'd be happy to work with you, Nigel." So we've now sort of teamed up with all 4 of us now in the business effectively to set up another arm, if you like. And we're in talks with this investor to do exactly that, to use her money to spend and buy properties that we can then run. So, you know, this is only the start for us. I mean, that's a mega amount of money, especially when you leverage that. You're probably talking 15 mil that you can use.
Yeah.
That's absolutely immense. I've been approached by people with cash to invest because they can see how successful I've been in a short space of time. This is coming back to what Ashley was saying. Ashley's been building my profile up, and I've been posting a few things on Facebook about how we paid back the investor and so on. And I've had people now coming to me saying, you know, we'd like to get involved in other projects. I've got an old friend of mine that crawled out the woodwork that I've not heard from in 7 years. And he's now mortgage-free, debt-free. He's got 100k sitting in the bank, burning a hole in his pocket. And he's also got money tied up in pensions that he wants to use with us. So we're now talking about what we can do with him.
For those who think that they cannot raise money, it's one of the easiest things you can do. You just have to adjust your mindset.
You show them you're successful, it'll start coming to you.
Yep.
Because again, it's that proof of the concept, isn't it? So we've been approached by a couple of development companies now. One in Reading, and the other I can't remember what the other one was now. And they're basically talking to us about off-plan projects and what we can do with them now. So they're opening up to various sort of ways that we can work with them. One of them is literally building all over the country. They're in the Midlands. They're starting down in the south, Wokingham, Basingstoke, Slough, Maidenhead, all over the place. And what they're talking to us about is they like to do developments, have them tenanted, and then hand them over to an investor that buys the block. We're a perfect solution for them because they can hand it to them with one tenant, i.e. us doing serviced accommodation. The head lease is already agreed for it from the top, and we all win. So that's ongoing. I mean, that, you know, they've approached about 23 units that won't be ready till mid-2019. But you've got to plan for the future. This is just the start for us. Also looking at using our skills and expertise to market other SA operators on our platform. So what we're thinking of is people that are starting new in the market, you know, that have got 1, 2, 3 apartments or you know, properties wherever they are, if they're to the right standard, trying to work with the OTAs, the people like Booking.com and Expedia. If you've got 1 or 2 apartments, it's very, very difficult. They have to go through lengthy processes and it's time consuming to get them on live and get them up and running sometimes. We've got now, I mean, we got to a stage, because again, when we took on 25, I made a phone call to Booking.com and I said, look, I'm not going to mess about, because what Booking.com do is when you get a property, they want to send out a code to that property. You have to physically go and pick up that code, which is coming through the pigeon post, ring it through to booking.com because then they prove it's a physical address at a physical point.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, I've got 25 apartments. I ain't doing that. I'm not keep going round and round picking up codes for you. That the first one we ever did never arrived. You know, so we just said, there's got to be a better way of doing it. Oh, we've got an onboarding manager for properties like that. We can talk to them. So now we've got access to onboarding manager with all these people. So we can get things done quickly without the hassle, you know, involved in you know, what a lot of the smaller operators have. So we can help people get them onto our platform. So this is something we're sort of looking at as a work in progress at the moment.
There's lots of good tips here that Nigel's given you. So
With the booking thing, I got a pin from booking.com.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I
That's
got it on the email.
It was, well, that's probably different then, is it? Because the code normally has to go through to the physical address to prove it is actually a physical place, and you're not pulling the wool over their eyes.
I'm not sure. It's live on booking.com now.
Right. So they may have changed the
Great.
process
I
then.
don't know if they've just changed that recently.
some people
They
have been
might do.
able to get on
They might
without getting it sent to the mail, but the majority, the letter goes to it. So you've been one of
Yeah.
the lucky ones.
Yeah. Again, this is
Good.
6 months ago. They might be putting processes in place that are stopping that now, you see, because it's been been a hassle for them.
Right, yeah.
So conclusion, has it been hard? Extremely. As I say, I was working long hours, in desperately need of holiday by the time sort of end of June come, hence we went to Cyprus in July, much needed. Has it been worth it, to coin a phrase from Ashley and Manuel? Hell yes. I mean, we've done tremendously well in a short space of time. Will we do anything differently? Probably not. It's just me. Go big or go home. That's the way I work. I mean, I had a big why, which Ashley knows my why. I mean, I won't go into it here, but I'd stepped away from a business, took a bit of money out of it. The last money I actually drew from a company as a wage per se was back in 2015 of August. And since then, I've been self-sufficient, and I've basically started this 6 months ago, so fill in the gaps. I've had no money for a long time, so I needed to get moving fast.
Sink or swim.
And my outgoings are big.
Wants and needs.
So, yeah, this is it, exactly. So, couldn't have done this without actually teaching, and his constant support. So, he's a great guy. You know, I've got the motivation, I've got the mindset, but I needed the knowledge and the know-how, and Ashley's given me that in spades. So, fair play and thank you.
Thank you.
And that is it, basically.